Good morning here from London. I think pretty good late evening from Paul in Australia. This is Rupert and Paul with our weekly catch up on what's happening here on Climate Transformed and what we've got coming up to look forward to. Paul, you've been battling the worst possible time zone to be on for the last couple of weeks in terms of speaking to us here in Europe and certainly your friends over in the States. But
it is horrible. I haven't been home. I haven't been home in 3 years. It's been an amazing trip, mate. But my mum's 80th birthday only comes once, so we had to come and do all that.
To her.
But it's and I love my Australian brethren. I am a very proud Australian, but it is a horrible time zone to get anything done. But look, and we have been getting a bit done, which is great. We'll talk about the up and coming events. I want to talk about the BCM conference, which is dominating all my time. But we've got a few things on, mate. There's including a premiere of a new moderator on Climate Transformed.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's take our time on that. So, of course, on our trip maybe 2 weeks ago, would have been introduced to McKenna Avery, who is assistant head of content here at Climate Transformed. She's American, based in Austin, Texas. And went to school at the American State University, as I would say, in San Diego, and is a real passion for how companies can the importance of sustainable companies to drive forward change. And on that topic, she's actually going to be sitting down with me as well. But the two of us are going to sit down with Molly Lockney-Meluis, who is the director of Stanford's Lawyers for a Sustainable Economy Initiative. Bit of a mouthful there, but once we've got through the title, it should be a very interesting discussion on the most critical legal obstacles facing green startups. I guess the sort of stat out there that most businesses fail in the first 18 months. Green startups, I suspect, are going to be no different to that, as much as we'd like them to succeed. So, it'd be interesting to hear what advice Molly has for potential green entrepreneurs and those looking to capitalize on this mass interest that there is undoubtedly in businesses that can help us tackle the climate crisis.
But again, we often lose sight of the fact about legal frameworks, because it just let's say, given what we do on that, it just isn't as interesting about than talking about climate tech. But it's the intersection between tech and regulation. Tech and government is so important, and to have Molly on to talk about that intersection, I could see us over time having dedicated legal content as sort of one of our pillars, because because for all the innovation that can get done, if it doesn't fit a regulatory framework, if you can't put it through, if it doesn't have the right legal structures to allow these technologies to flourish, well, it's nowhere, right? So and like it's as old as time hearing stories about innovations that just weren't legal effectively, and it was a function not that the technologies were deficient, but the regulatory framework and the legal parameters just didn't keep up, and it's a huge problem. It's as old as time. So I'd be interested to hear what Molly's got to say about all that. And I know we've also got Brian Eagle, who's going to talk about biochar. What is biochar?
Good question. We'll find out more from Brian when we chat about it. What I do know of it is one of the key. Well, lots of people listening to this will know far more about the track, but currently we're offsets. You're allowed to buy offsets that reduce carbon emissions. Going forward, the legally binding commitment that a lot of countries have made means that by 2050, all offsets must be carbon removal. So not just stopping carbon getting into the atmosphere, actually taking it out. Biochar is a key substance in doing this. It's an organic matter that from the little I understand, Brian will be able to fill in far better. But it's actually one of those brilliant substances that can draw in carbon and therefore help us clean up the atmosphere.
And this
carbon removal.
he had this in paint. Is that right? There was something he had this in a paint product at some stage.
That was a separate guy, wasn't it? That was Tim Berry from Carbon Limit.
That's right.
He had developed a paint smog armor that drew in pollutants from the atmosphere, but not necessarily carbon emissions. So carbon removals is something we need lots more of, and so far most of the technology out there, such as CCS and it is very expensive, and so if there's some more natural solutions out there like biochar, then clearly they're going to attract a lot of attention. So be interested to learn more about it. As you can tell from you putting me on the spot there, my knowledge of biochar needs improving. So I'm sure after an hour of chatting to Brian
I didn't mean
Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean to throw you on the bus. I don't know what it is either. But I think the world is littered with failed sequestration projects, right? And as a nice little segue to our voluntary carbon offset event on September 13 and 14. I mean, I got a rather critical LinkedIn message from an activist in Canada who basically accused me of a lot of things, but by calling now VCM event a gold rush, trying to be exploitive, and I explained to her, look, it's misses the point. Gold rushes have very negative connotations to them, look, there is a very, very valid argument, and there is a community of people who think that the whole carbon offset market is just complete bullshit and the smoke and mirrors. That we should be working on actually carbon extraction rather than locking up. Nature, particularly on the nature-based side of things, just locking up areas to prevent them from being destroyed. And it's some of the points are valid. But look, at the end of the day, carbon offsets are a bridge to a world which is a bridge to net zero. But it's to put it in the context of this conversation, it's a bridge to sequestration, right? It's a bridge to extraction. And I think that all the things that we'll talk about, I think we've confirmed over 55 speakers now. I think we've got four board members from the Integrity Council for Voluntary Carbon Markets who are going to finish off the 2-day event talking about all the issues that they see it. But it's going to be an amazing few days. And at the end of the day, this is a nascent market. It is a market that is deeply flawed currently. It is a market where even the best minds in this industry, the Maggie Kims and the David Antoniolis and these sort of folks just can't agree on stuff. I had a conversation with a blockchain company who's going to be speaking on day 2, and they're frustrated with the Veras and the gold standards of the world because in some ways they're competitors, in some ways they are a natural next step, and they're having they're butting heads on how do you integrate a blockchain technology into this monitoring process, where do ratings fit in, all this stuff, and it comes down to the very basic point. Is a ton of carbon actually a ton of carbon? And these are, are we doing model-based approaches of assessment? Are we doing scientific-based approaches? This shit's really complicated. It's really complicated. And, the whole notion of, it's really easy for promoters to turn around and say, well, this will be a $300 billion market by 2030. A lot of stuff's got to change for that to happen, right? And it would be great if it was. It would be fantastic if it was, because it would imply that the structural supply dynamics that are holding the market back, well, that hopefully will be rectified. But the way I think about it, for this to be a $300 billion market, the price of carbon's got to go up a lot. And at the end of the day, for me, that's the number one goal in all of this is, how do you get the price of carbon up to a point where it inhibits oil companies, or it inhibits, farmers in the Amazon buying, Amazon farmland for $100 an acre and stripping it and putting beans on it or cows on it or whatever it is. Price of an acre of farmland in the Amazon shouldn't be $100, right? It's around of drinks. It should be something that is high enough to actually force companies, be it farm, be it soybean producers, cattle grazers, whoever, from saying, this is too expensive for me to do this. I need to find alternatives. And that's all. These are all debates that we'll be having on September 13 and 14.
Yeah, it's going to be a great couple of days. Lots to, as you say, there's it's still so fragmented, so much discussion that it's very time to hopefully be that centre point for some of those discussions, and it would be lovely to think by the end of it we can start to reach some kind of a consensus. But there's certainly no shortage of content, certainly no shortage of big name speakers from big name companies. So you've been working incredibly hard, Paul. Well done with what you've done so far. Let's keep up the good work.
We're getting there, mate. We're getting there. Even in my bad time zone, we're able to get there. So everyone, September 13 and 14, please join climatetransform.com. You can register for the event. Rupert, we will come back next week and have a better definition of biochar for everyone. We promise.
Yep.
Everyone have a great week, and we'll talk to you all shortly.